Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another crypto video. And I have a question for you all today, and that is, are you planning to sell your XRP soon? The reason I am asking this is because, well, a lot of people in the community think the price might go down further, and I'm wondering if you could actually sell your XRP at like 40 cents or even at $1, if that would be sufficient for you to sell at. Let me know in the comment section down below, and let's dive right into something rather interesting. Now, I already showed you guys the SEC response in the Ripple lawsuit yesterday, but I told you all I was going to make another summary later today, and here we go. First of all, Jeremy Hogan, an attorney, said the SEC dodges the argument. Where does this pleading address the statement and fair notice defense head on? Not once, because the SEC cannot. When you can't argue the issue, dodge it. I've done this before. I would guess that Judge Torres is too sharp, though, for this tactic. If you are a legal nerd, check out the case the SEC is relying on the summation. The case is a motion to dismiss an indictment and not even relevant to the Ripple case. Different procedural posture, although perhaps relevant to the individual cases. Now, I'm not going to be the legal nerd here and actually look through this because I'm not going to be understanding the majority of it anyway. However, the first point is quite clear, and it's also something we kind of addressed yesterday, which is the SEC doesn't have a proper defense right here. And I didn't really notice, but they apparently did not even mention the issue at hand head on even once, which is that the SEC didn't actually give the proper fair notice in all of this, right? Where does this pleading address the statement and fair notice defense head on? Not once. It's most likely because as you read through it, you notice, hey, they don't really have a good defense, so they're just popping up a couple of reasons why they think they are right with some case law and just nothing really too relevant. So let's quickly go over the 5 points once more. First, the SEC was established by the statute as a commission of 5 commissioners, with each member basically having their own opinion. That's kind of what they state. Each opinion of those of those members doesn't necessarily represent the SEC itself's opinion, yet they kind of contradict that, as we've further seen that William Hinman, for example, had a speech which is kind of opined to have also been an SEC opinion. And since all those individuals, whenever they provide an opinion, always need to prove, approval from the SEC themselves, that, you know, it's kind of more of a group type of effort. And also, again, another point that I would say is that if they come to a conclusion in a certain lawsuit, if it's the SEC versus another party, then you can kind of understand that if Ripple right now, for example, if some of Ripple's lawyers are like, you know what, we think about it this way, and another lawyer says, well, but that's just what an attorney thinks, that's not what we go and state, if they settle the lawsuit on that matter, it doesn't really matter exactly who thought what, because that's the way that things have been handled as of this point. At least that's my opinion about the matter. Second, and along similar lines, defendants ignored that the Second Circuit long ago held that even the full SEC may not waive the requirement of an act of Congress. So they're basically saying that even the SEC, had they wanted to, they couldn't actually give how do you say it? They couldn't even give the proper information for it and be the proper book, basically, the guys that give the advice, sort of, even if they wanted to. They can't make the rules themselves. They have to do it through a process. That's at least what I kind of fetched from it yesterday. They have a lack of authority, basically. Third, I didn't even understand this one. It's just, in my opinion, kind of stupid. Fourth, let's quickly see here. It's most likely in the middle somewhere. Damn, let's quickly type in fourth. Can we find it? Fourth. There we go. Even if the statement were the view of the SEC, which is not, it is irrelevant to the SEC's aiding and abetting claims against the individual defendants. As the SEC explained in its opposition to the motion to dismiss, the SEC is not required to prove that the individual defendants knew or recklessly disregarded the legal consequences of their actions. So basically here they're saying it's irrelevant. They're not really addressing the claim itself. They basically just say, hey, it is irrelevant and it's an incorrect claim because we do not have to prove that. And then fifth, defendants' arguments based on the statement ignored the SEC itself through a vote of the 5 commissioners and other SEC commissioners, and officially have repeatedly warned those who sell digital assets to the public of the need to comply with the federal security laws. Here they're just saying, again, pretty stupid in my opinion, hey, we've given you guys some quote-unquote advice / clarity a couple of times in 2017 and 18, And we've publicly stated a couple of times, make sure that if you build something that you're following the proper security laws, so you should have known. That, of course, is also ridiculously dumb because even the SEC themselves know that these rules are really unclear. And the whole point is that you don't know that you have to comply by those rules because they're not clear for these specific types of assets. So once more, I thought this defense was really weak in that regard, and I'm hoping it's going to be fixed by the judge because I think if I can see through it, she must see through it too. Now, by the way, guys, make sure you check out the Bybit competition. A link is down below. There's already quite a lot of people in there, and right now we are at 9,000 XRP as a prize pool. You can see the full ranking right here, and entering is so simple. Just check the link down below. Can I recommend you guys all to enter? Yes. It's the first time, I think, ever that I've actually recommended people to enter something. I don't really do promotions, as you guys know, on this channel. We don't really do any stupid stuff like that. This is just an exchange. I asked them if we could run a big campaign for all the people that sign up through me. They said yes, and they're giving away 30,000 XRP in total if we got enough people. I don't think we're going to get there, though, because we have 6-ish days left. Yet again, it's a really cool thing. It's a really cool gesture. It's really nice because it doesn't really cost anything. All right, and moving on towards a Ripple test at the SEC. This was also just posted by Rosalind Layton. We've talked about it a couple of times before, and even she has talked about it a couple of times before. But it's a really important subject to understand to the fullest. A Ripple test is a necessity if the SEC actually provides some information. What I mean with that is that the chance of a Ripple test coming is, let's say, about 98% certain, unless the SEC decides to not let this deposition pull through, or for William Himon not to mention anything, or if they decide to not give over the documents regarding Bitcoin, Ether, and XRP. As it currently stands, people have the question, is Ether a security too? And rightfully so, right? But the more documents that the SEC gives over, the more questions people will be having and the more certainty market participants will be having that they are quote-unquote right. What I mean with that is that, for example, a next crypto that could be sued could always say, hey, but Ripple won on these regards. We want to kind of quote that too. Right now, you might even say that Telegram and Kick are kind of a test on their own as well, because if your crypto is akin to those, well, you're almost automatically going to fall within the bracket. And that's kind of the same thing as the Howey test and how it went. It's just, okay, so Howey is a specific example we've never seen before, or at least we have seen before but never ruled on properly. Let's make this a standard because it's going to happen in a lot of different cases, and we need kind of a rule book to play this by. And with Howey, for the last, 80 years or so, it went properly. And now all of a sudden there's a new digital asset class where a new test needs to be made for a new sort of concept. And I think how that's going to roll out and work is basically they're going to settle this first. The entire speak of a Ripple test is not going to, come until, let's say, a couple of weeks, couple of months later, when all of them notice that, hey, for every single future crypto case, they're going to have to mention this Ripple thing over and over and over again. And they can kind of measure the security, but then maybe a new word for it, status, if they just measure it up to what Ripple's XRP was looking like. And it will basically be a Ripple test or an XRP test without actually mentioning it is so. Because I don't think the SEC actually wants to admit it, but there's almost no way around it. And here it says 2 explicit criteria required. John Berlow of the Competitive Enterprise Institute suggests 2 minimum requirements to determine whether a digital asset is a security. A, an explicit promise of ownership of or share of the firm's revenues or profits. And B, an explicit promise of return on investment. Berlow suggests that these 2 disclosures are necessary to distinguish cryptocurrency investments from the larger world of investments in which the SEC has no jurisdiction, even though vendors hawk the investment value of art, comic books, action figures, cars, and other collectibles. Notably, this determination should be defined by the statute of Congress, lest the SEC will continue to freelance on ever-expanding regulatory turf, as seen presently in the fractionalized NFTs used for distribution of digital art. So here's the assumption of investment with exception from SEC registration. Well, I would say that there's just right now a little bit of a question about how long, and that's also one of the points right here, at least I think, a cryptocurrency company should be free for. And what I mean with that is that how long can a cryptocurrency company basically have free reign or free, how would you say it? Like the chance to move freely without prosecution, because Ethereum, Bitcoin, XRP, all of them were securities at one point or another by this current definition. And if we don't change the entire rulebook, we need kind of a grace period of maybe 1 to 3 years where they could just roll by and do their stuff, expand the ecosystem, expand the decentralization, expand the utility, so that they can become a decentralized unit or asset or network. And then Jack Dorsey avoids conflict with Elon Musk on the B Words online panel. I'm not exactly sure why this is being titled this way. I mean, to be honest with you, it was actually just pretty bullish on all regards. So I'm not exactly sure why they call it this way. You can ask yourself, what did they say? Well, it was just kind of a back and forward about Bitcoin. Just calling it so amazing on Jack Dorsey's part, and Elon Musk just explaining why he holds it all. I'm not exactly sure why he calls it avoid conflict, because, well, things didn't really look to go bad at all. So, not really sure. Maybe, which doesn't mean the panelists didn't bring interesting ideas. Maybe they just didn't want to kind of go too far into any of... Let's quickly see here. The Battle of the Billionaires was a bit of a letdown. In the B-Word conference, Elon Musk repeated the views he's expressed on Twitter. Jack Dorsey didn't confront him in any way. The addition of Cathie Wood didn't bring much to the table in that regard either. For something that was initially billed as the talk about Bitcoin, it was light on the discussion side. It all came and went uneventfully. That's because Elon Musk told a story, Cathie Wood told a story, Jack was just kind of also mostly telling a story. It wasn't really a discussion in that regard of deeper layers of Bitcoin, for example. There was just some really easy questions. And maybe that's because Elon Musk, for example, agreed without, wanting to go over some really controversial stuff or something along those lines. I'm not exactly sure, but it wasn't that heavy of a talk. And I don't think it was actually a bad thing either. So I'm still happy with it. Guys, that was it for today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you check the channel out. I guess just subscribe to it. And I'll see you guys again in another crypto video later today. All right, so that was it. Take care and have a nice day.